Okay, so you guys saw they took that tree. And I guess they got some of the roots in the stump, so they put over it that like those chips and like dirt, because otherwise it'd just be like whole. Um, but it's taken out. It feels so different. I ever have something that was just like always there years and years, and you see it every single day, and then it's gone. But it wasn't just gone. Like I knew. I think that makes it better because, like, I know it was the right thing to do, and I took pictures last night of it. I was bringing up the trash, so there was, like, not just, like, suddenly gone. That would've been weird. I thought Fila would care more, but I don't even think she really noticed. She's like, "Hmm," and this wouldn't be. Um, then the guy for the tinting, um, I called someone that would, like, come to the house, but then he kept saying, um, like, that he couldn't come today, and then he said he could come today. Something happened, I guess, to his daughter, that she was in urgent care. But it didn't take him too long to do it. He said it's the same price, whether it takes me like a long time or not, whether it's hard or not, and that. So I was good. I got taken care of. It feels like a long day. That the stuff with the tree that was like hours. Um, I got my shoes. These chapters aren't named, but it says the room is quiet and wet smelling. And I'm like, what does that mean? Wet smelling? It's a room, so she's not on that boat. I can see why the boat would be. What does it mean, like a wet towel? We'll see. Tree work was pretty yeah. There was yeah, like I said, there were 6 guys, so climbing the tree, some of them, chainsaws, they, like I knew what they were doing. Mm. Yeah, and the fact that they would come so fast, but I guess if you get the work and you put it off, then maybe they'd be able to change their mind. Maybe it pays to be able to do it quick, but it's still helpful, and really what did it was those branches. Spurted so fast because it took so many branches, that wind was so bad. And still, I think it'll be tonight, and I saw Daryl had sent me that there was a wind advisory, and I think now I still got lumberjack well, they didn't come inside. Um, just getting my shoe on. They cut a whole tree down. Yeah, yeah, and they had to ship it because what are you gonna just walk around with a giant tree? And apparently inside it was starting to go hollow, so it would have become even more of a problem, like whether the roots will grow or that it would die or partially die. Like, listen, I don't really know that about trees, but I did look up to try to verify um what he was saying. Um and it checked out. And even from my experience in terms of the constant work of it, yeah. I remember after the last guy trimmed it, the gardener that wasn't here anymore, um, and it rained and I was like, oh man. Because he was ready to grow so fast, it's gonna be another problem. So you could dress as a lumberjack, but who am I thinking of? Is it the Bounty Man on the paper towels? I I think you look good the way you are, but if you like to do a little costume, maybe if you review a lumberjack movie. Okay, I got a coffee cup there, a hot one. I got a water bottle, perfect water. Got you guys. My heels on, a book. Let's settle in and read for a while. We got time. Chapter 10. Real. Okay. Pulling you up on my phone. Oh, hey, John. I'm just getting started. Oh, yes. Happy birthday to your mom. A February baby. Mm. The room is quiet and wet smelling. I open my eyes, shut them real tight, let them come open again slow. Sleep haze hangs over me so that I can't see too clear. It's like the river fog came crawling through the shanty windows overnight. Nothing's where it's supposed to be. Instead of the Arcadia's doors and windows, there's thick, stacked stone walls. The air smells like the closed compartments where we keep crates of stores and fuel. The stink of mold and wet dirt crawls up my nose and stays there. So I guess like water gets left in here. I hear Lark whine in her sleep. There's the squeak of hinges instead of the soft rustle of the pull-down pallets where Lark and Fern sleep. Blinking, I look up and make out one tiny high-up window near the ceiling. Morning light pushes through, but it's dull and shadowy. A bush scrapes over the glass. Its branches raise a soft squeal. A scrappy pink rose hangs down, half broke. Everything comes back in a rush. I remember going to bed on the day on the musty smelling cot, staring out the window at the rose as the day faded and my brother and sisters breathed longer and slower around me. I remember the worker in the white dress bringing us down the basement stairs and walking us by the furnace and the coal piles to this tiny room. You'll sleep here until we find out whether you're staying for good. No noise and no carrying on. You're to be quiet. You are not to leave your beds. She pointed us to 5 folding cots, the kind that soldiers use in their practice camps along the river sometimes. Then she left and closed the door behind her. We huddled quiet on our beds, even Chameleia. Mostly I was just glad we were by ourselves again, just the 5 of us. No workers, no other kids watching, with curious eyes, worried eyes, sad eyes, mean eyes, hollow eyes. They're dead and hard. All of what happened yesterday plays in my head like a picture show. I see the Arcadia, the police, Silas, Miss Tan's car, the bath line upstairs. A sickness runs over me from head to toe. It swallows me like a backwash of stagnant water, hot from the summer sun, poisoned by everything that's fallen into it. I feel dirty from the inside out. It's not got a thing to do with the cloudy bath water that was brown with the sand and soap of all the kids who used it before me, including my sisters and Gabian. Instead, I see the worker standing over me while I step into the tub, turning my shoulder to hide myself. Wash, she points at the soap and the rag. We ain't got time for dallying. You river rats ain't exactly known for being fruit anyhow, are you? I don't know what she means or how to answer. Maybe I'm not supposed to. I said, wash up, she hollers. You think I got all day? I know for sure she doesn't. I've already heard her yell the same thing to other kids. I've heard whining and whimpering and sputtering when heads got dunked to rinse them off. Luckily, none of us Foss kids mind going underwater. The babies and even Chameleia made it through the back line without much trouble. I want to do the same, but the woman seems like she's got it in for me, maybe on account of I'm the oldest. I squat down over the water because it's dirty and cold. She moves to get a better look at me and stares in a way that raises goose flesh on my skin. Guess you ain't too grownish to be in with the little girls after all. Won't be long, though. We'll have you move to someplace else. I turn my shoulder even more and wash quick as I can. This morning, I still feel dirty from having somebody look me over like that. I hope we'll be gone from here before it's time for another bath. I want the little pink rose outside to disappear. I want the window to change, the walls to turn to wood, the cement floor to shift and melt and go away. I want old planks worn down by our feet and the river rocking under our beds and the soft sound of Briny playing his harmonica outside on the porch. I've come awake at least 10 times overnight in the wee hours. Fern squeezed herself beside me, the sagging canvas pulling us together so tight it's a wonder she can breathe, much less sleep. Each time I let myself go under, I'm back on the Arcadia again. Each time I wake up, I'm here in this place, and I try to make sense of it all. You'll sleep here until we find out whether you're staying for good. What's that mean for good? Aren't they taking us to the hospital to see Briny and Queenie now that we've stayed the night here and got cleaned up? Are all of us going, or just some? I can't leave the babies here. What if these people hurt them? I have to protect my brothers and sisters, but I can't even protect myself. Tears turn my mouth sticky. I've told myself I won't cry. It'll only scare the little kids. I promise them everything will be all right, and so far they believe it, even Chameleia. I close my eyes, curl around Fern, let the tears come and seep into her hair. Sobs heave through my stomach and push up my chest, and I swallow them like hiccups. Fern sleeps right through it. Maybe her dreams make her think it's just the river rocking her bunk. Don't fall asleep, I tell myself. I have to put Fern back in her own cot before anybody comes. I can't get us in trouble. The lady told us not to leave our beds. Just a minute or two more, just a minute or two, then I'll get up and make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be. I drift and wake and drift and wake. My heart slams hard against my ribs when I hear somebody breathing nearby. Not one of us, somebody bigger. A man, maybe it's Briny. No sooner does the thought come than the sense of old grease and green grass and coal dust and sweat sift into the room. It's not briny. He smells of river water and sky, morning fog in the summer and frost and wood smoke in the winter. My mind clears up and I listen. Feet shuffle a couple steps in the door and then stop. That's not Briny's walk. I pull the covers over Fern's head, hope she won't wake up and move just now. It's still pretty dim, that same faint light coming through the window. Maybe he won't notice Fern's not in her cot. When I turn my head, I can barely see him from the edge of my eye. He's big, taller and fatter than Briny by a lot, but that's all I can make out. He's a shadow standing there. He doesn't move or say anything. He just stands and looks. My nose runs from all the crying, but I don't wipe it or sniffle. I don't want him to know I'm awake. Why is he here? Chameleia rolls over in her bed. No, I think. Shh. Is she looking at him? Can he see whether her eyes are open? He moves into the room, moves, then stops, then moves, then stops. He bends over Lark's cot, touches her pillow. He stumbles a little and bumps the wood frame. I watch through the narrow slits of my eyes. He comes to my cot next, looks down for a minute. The pillow rustles near my head. He touches it twice, real light. Then he stops at the other cots and finally leaves and closes the door. I let out the breath I've been holding and suck in another one and catch the smell of peppermint. When I throw off the covers and wake Fern, there are two little white candies on the pillow. They make me think of Briny right off. When Briny hustles money at the pool hall, or works on a showboat that's docked up. He always comes back to the Arcadia with a roll of beech nut luster mints in his pocket. They're the best kind. Bryony plays little riddle games with us, and if we get the answers right, we get a candy. If there's two red birds up a tree, and one on the ground, and three bluebirds in a bush, and four on the ground, and a big old crow on the fence, and an owl in the barn stall, how many birds on the ground? The older you are, the tougher the questions get. The tougher the questions get, the better the beech nut candies taste. The peppermint smell makes me want to run to the door and look out and see if Bryony's here. But these peppermints are another kind. They don't feel right in my fist when I scoop them up and carry Fern to her bed. By the door, Chameleia pops hers into her mouth and munches it. I think about leaving the peppermints on the little kids' pillows, but instead I decide it'd be better to pick them up. If the workers come, I'm afraid we might get in trouble for having them. Stealer, Chameleia talks for the first time since the bath line last night. She's sitting up in her bed, the shoulder of a too big nightie sagging halfway down her arm. After the baths, one of the workers rooted through a pile and handed us these to wear. He gave us each a candy. You can't have them all. That ain't fair. Shh, she's so loud. I half expect the door to swing open and we'll all be in a fix. I'm saving them for everybody for later. You're stealing. Am not. Sure enough, Camellia is back to herself today, but like usual in the morning, she's in a mood. She don't wake up easy, even with peppermints. Most times, I'd square off with her, but right now I'm too tired for it. I'm saving them till later, I said. I don't want us to get in trouble. My sister's bony shoulders sag. We already got in trouble. Her black hair falls forward in mats like a horse's tail. What are we going to do, Rill? We're going to be good, so the people will take us to Bryony. You can try to run away. Can't try to run away anymore, Camellia. You can't fight them, okay? If we make them mad, they won't take us. She stares hard at me, her brown eyes squinted into slits so that she looks like the Chinamen who wash Rivertown laundry and big boiling kettles along the bank. You think they'll take us for sure today? If we're good, I hope it's not a lie, but maybe it is. Why'd they bring us here? The question chokes her. Why didn't they just leave us be? My mind scrambles around, trying to figure it out. I need to explain it to myself as much as to Camellia. I think it's a mistake. They must have figured Bryony wasn't coming back to look after us. But Bryony will tell them soon as he finds out that we're gone. He'll tell them that this was somebody's big mistake, and he'll take us home. Today, though, her chin quivers, and she pushes her bottom lip up hard, bolts it the way she does when she's about to pick a fight with a boy. I bet today for sure. She sniffs and wipes snot with her arm. I ain't letting them women get me in that bathtub again, Rill. I ain't. What they do to you, Camellia? Nothing. Her chin pokes up. They just ain't getting me in there again, that's all. She stretches a hand toward me, opens it. If you ain't gonna give them candies to everybody, let me have them. I'm starved. We'll save the rest for later. If we get to go outside, where the kids were yesterday, I'll pull them out then. You said Brian was gonna come later. I don't know when, I just know he will. She screws her lips to one side like she's not believing it for 1 minute, then turns herself toward the door. Maybe that man can help us get away. The one who brings us the peppermints. He's our friend. I've already thought about that, but who was that man? Why did he come in here? Does he want to be our friend? He's the first one who's been nice to us since Miss Murphy's house. We'll wait for Bryony, I say. We've just got to be good till then. That's the door handle rattles. Camellia and I fall into our beds, both at the same time, and pretend we're sleeping. My heart pumps under the scratchy blanket. Who's out there? Is it our new friend or someone else? Did they hear us talking? I'm sorry, but I keep thinking I'm scared for these girls for sexual abuse. This is creepy. I remember reading someone said once, it's probably a starvation, was you know, people try to groom kids to, like, not complain or speak up. And part of it is because kids can be, like, pain in the ass for no reason, just, like, "Shut up." Like, maybe, like, um, just trying to cause trouble. But then sometimes it's, like, just training them that you can't ever talk to an adult or you can't ever act like you just do whatever you're told and you go along with whatever you're told. And it is sort of grooming a certain way, not having to be as dark as that, but it makes it easier to get that dark. So, I mean, I don't know, but like that's kind of in the back of my mind is I don't want anything like that to happen to these girls or the boy, but I mean, and it's the 1930s. Yeah. And I'm sure stuff like that always happens. 'Cause they're like, "Oh, is he our friend giving us candy?" Like, "Oh, these not we're your parents." I don't have long to wonder. A brown-haired lady in a white dress comes in. I watch her through a thin place in the blanket. She is stout as a lumberjack and round in the middle. She isn't one of the women we saw yesterday. At the door, she frowns, then looks toward our beds, then at the keys in her hand. "All of you, out of bed." She talks like the family from Norway whose boat was tied up down the way from ours for a month last summer. Bed sounds like bet, but I know what she means. She doesn't seem mad, really, just tired. On your feet and fold the blankets. We scramble up all except Gabian. I have to rustle him from his cot, and he stumbles around and lands on his rear while I take care of the blankets. Someone else was in this room during the night, yes? She holds up a key pinched between her fingers. Should we tell her about the man with the peppermints? Maybe he wasn't supposed to be in our room. Maybe we'll get in trouble if they find out we didn't tell. No, not nobody, just us, Camellia answers before I can. And you are the troublemaking one, I am told. A hard look comes Camelia's way, and my sister shrinks a little. No, nobody came in. I have to lie to. What else can I do now that Camellia told a fib? Unless it happened while we were sleeping. The woman pulls the chain on the light bulb overhead. It flickers and we blink and squint. This door shouldn't have been locked. It was, yes? We don't know, Camellia pipes up. We was in our beds the whole night. The woman looks at me and I nod and then make myself busy with cleaning up the room. I want to get rid of the peppermints, but I'm too scared to, so I keep them stuck in my hand, which makes it hard to fold the blankets, but the lady doesn't notice. Mostly, she's just in a hurry to get us out of there. When we leave the room, I see the big man standing there in the basement, leaning on a broom handle next to the fat black boiler stove with slats that look like the mouth on a Halloween pumpkin. The man watches us go by. Camellia smiles over at him and he smiles back. His teeth are old and ugly, and his thin brown hair hangs down around his face in sweaty strings. But still, the smile's nice to see. Maybe we do have a friend here after all. Mr. Riggs, if you have nothing else that must be done, see to the raked the old dead leaves and make a pretending spot in the shade of the well house, like Camellia and I do in the woods sometimes. You want to play? One of them asks. Bugger off, Camellia snaps. We ain't got time. We're going over to the churchyard to watch for our daddy. You had an oughta. The girls turn back to their game. Then we move on along. At the gate to the churchyard, a big boy pops out from behind the hollies. I think I skipped a page by accident. I think I skipped just a little. Okay. So she's talking to Mr. Riggs. If you haven't nothing else that must be done, see to the branch that has fallen in the yard during the night. The woman says, before the children are going out. Yes, Miss Polnick. Yeah, I'm like, how did they get near a churchyard? His lips curve up at the edges and he moves the broom a little as Miss Polnick starts up the stairs, but he doesn't sweep anything. Camelia looks back over her shoulder and he winks at her. The wink makes me think of Briny, so maybe I do like Mr. Riggs a little bit. Upstairs, Miss Polnick takes us to the laundry room and gives us not much more than rags. She tells us to get ourselves dressed and use the bathroom, and we do. And breakfast looks a lot like the supper they gave us last night after the bath. A little scoop of cornmeal mush. We're late getting to the table. The other kids have already gone to play. After we've scraped our bowls clean, we're told to get outside too and not to try leaving the backyard and the churchyard, or else. And you will not be going near to the fence. Miss Polnick grabs Camille's arm and larks before we can make it through the door. She leans us over with her round cheeks red and sweat shiny. A boy tunneled underneath yesterday. Miss Murphy has given him the closet. To be given the closet is very, very bad. In the closet, it is dark. Do you understand? Yes, I croak out, picking up Gabby and reaching for Lark to get her away. She is standing still as a stump, not a thing moving but the big old tears dripping down her cheeks. I'll make sure they mind the rules till we can go see our mama and daddy. Miss Polnick's big lips push together and curl. Good, she says. This is a wise choice for you, all of you. Yes, we get out the door quick as we can. The sun feels like heaven, and the sky stretches out big between the poplars and maples, and the bare dirt at the bottom of the steps is cool and soft. See, I close my eyes and listen to the leaves talking and the birds singing their morning songs. I pick out their voices one by one. Carolina wren, redbird, house finch, the same birds that were there yesterday morning when I woke up in our little shanty boat. The little girls grab onto my dress, and Gabby hitches himself back against my arms, trying to get down. And Camellia complains that we're just standing there. I open my eyes, and she's looking at the tall black iron fence that circles the yard. Honeysuckle and prickly holly and azaleas grow thick over most of it, higher than our heads. There's only one gate that I can see, and it goes to the playground behind the rundown church house next door. That's got more of the same fence around it, too. Camellia is way too big to squeeze under, but she looks like she's searching for the best spot to try it. Let's go over on the swings at least, she whines. We can watch the road from there for when Bryony comes to get us. We move across the yard, Gabian in my arms and my sisters in a tight knot behind me. Even Camellia, who usually picks a fight at every school we go to quicker than you can say spit. The kids eyeball us because we're new. We pretend we don't notice it. We're usually good at this game. Don't act too friendly. Look out for each other. Let them know that if they mess with one of you, they'd better be able to whip the bunch of you. But this time it's different. We don't know the rules in this place. There's no teacher around watching. There's not a grown-up in sight. Nobody but kids, all stopping their games of jump rope and Red Rover to stare at us. I don't see the little girl who came with us from the river yesterday. Her baby brother, the one Miss Tan named Stevie, sits in the dirt with a tin truck that's missing all its paint and one wheel. Where's your sister? I squat down beside him, Gabriel's weight putting me off balance so that I have to brace a hand on the ground to keep from falling over. Stevie's shoulders lift and fall, and his big brown eyes turn watery. You can come with us, I tell him. Camellia grumbles. He ain't our problem. I tell her to hush. Stevie rolls a pouty lip and nods and lifts both arms. There's a big bite mark on one of them, and I wonder who did it. I scoop him up and push myself back to my feet. He's older than Gabian, but he weighs about the same. He's a skinny little thing. Two girls playing with dented tin dishes look our way. They're right, right. They've raked the old dead leaves and made a pretending spot in the shade at the well house. Like Camellia, I do in the woods sometimes. You want to play? One of them asks. Bugger off, Camellia snaps. We ain't got time. We're going over to the churchyard to watch for our daddy. You hadn't oughta. The girls turn back to their game, and we move on along. The gate to the churchyard, a big boy pops out from, or at the gate, a big boy pops out from behind the hollies. Now I see they've got a tunneled out spot in the bushes. There's 4 or 5 of them back there with a deck of cards. One's carving a spear with his pocket knife. He gives me a squinting look and tests the sharp point with his finger. Oh, thank you, Jerry. Oh, tropical. Yeah, thank you. I was just trying to be quick. There's a lot today, but I wanted to make it on so I could read for plenty of time. And I got my coffee. Mm. Big redhead boy stands in the gate, his arms crossed over his chest. You come down here, he says, like he's in charge of me. They can go over and play. It's clear enough what he means. He wants me to clamber up under the bushes with the 4 of them. Otherwise, my brothers and sisters can't go in the churchyard. My face turns hot. I feel the blood pouring in. What's he got in mind? Chameleia says, what's just gone through my head. We ain't going no place with you. She braces her feet apart and pokes her chin out about even with his chest. You ain't the boss of us. I ain't talking to you, mud puppy. You're hound dogged ugly. Anybody ever tell you that? I'm talking to your pretty sister here. Chamelea's eyes bug out. She's on her way to getting full out and mad. Ain't ugly as you, carrot head. Your mama cry when you was born? Bet she did. I hand Gabby over to Fern. Little Stevie doesn't want to turn loose. His arms stay locked tight around my neck. If we're gonna have a fight, I don't need a baby hanging on me. The red-headed boy is probably more than Camellia and me can handle. And if his chums come out of there, we're in real trouble. There's still no workers any place in sight, and one of those ugly mugs has a knife. The redhead's nostrils flare, and he uncrosses his arms. Here it comes. Chamelea's put in a bid we can't pay this time. The boy stands at least a half a foot taller than me, and I'm tall. My mind runs like a squirrel on spring day, jumping from branch to branch. Think of something. Always use your brains, Rill, Briny says in my mind, and you'll find your way out of a scrape quicker than anything. I got peppermints, I blabber, and reach into the pocket of my borrowed dress. You can have the whole bunch, but you gotta let us pass. The boy pulls his chin back and squints at me. Where'd you get peppermints? I ain't a liar. I can barely choke out the 4 words because Stevie's hanging on to me so tight. You gonna let us pass or not? You give me the peppermints. The other rowdies are already shinnying out of their hidey hole so they can grab their share. Those are ours, Camellia argues. Be quiet. I pull out the mints. They're a little dirty from being stuck to my hand this morning, but I don't reckon these boys care. The redhead opens his fingers and I dump the candy in. He lifts it up close to his face. His eyes go across and he looks even dumber than before. A slow, mean smile spreads his lips. He's got a chipped tooth in front. You get these from old Riggs? I don't want to bring trouble on the man from the basement. He's the only one who's been nice to us so far. Ain't your business. He's our friend. Camellia can't keep her mouth shut. Maybe she thinks it'll scare the boys if they know the big man likes us. But the red-headed boy just grins. He leans close to my ear, near enough that I can smell his stinky breath and feel his heat on my skin. He whispers, don't let Riggs get you off by yourself. He ain't the kind of friend you want. See, I mean, that's what I was afraid of. I mean, they could just be saying that, but they're not safe. Chapter 11, Avery. Ugh. I mean, and I'm glad they have each other. That's like when me and my sister, like us three girls, like there will be like creepy adults. We would stick together. My sister always kept an eye on me because like I almost ran off with this old neighbor man because he was tempting me with stickers. He said he had stickers upstairs in his room if I go with him. And I was gonna go, but my sister wouldn't let me. See? It reminds me of real. Okay. The Spanish mops drips from the trees, as delicately spun as the lace on a bridal veil. A blue heron launches itself from the salt marsh, disturbed by the passage of my car. It flies clumsily at first, as if it needs a moment to become at home in the air, to find its wings. It beats hard, then finally floats into the distance, in no hurry to be earthbound again. I know the feeling. For 2 weeks, I've been trying to sneak away and make the drive to Edisto Island between the meetings and press ops that were already scheduled and an unexpected complication with Dad's health that's been impossible. I've spent the last 6 days in the doctor's offices holding my mother's hand as we try to discern why. When the cancer and intestinal bleeding were supposed to have been cured by the surgery, Dad was once again anemic and so weak he could barely stay on his feet. After endless tests, we think the cause has been found. The solution was simple: a laparoscopic surgery to fuse broken blood vessels in his digestive system, a problem unrelated to the cancer. Outpatient, quick, and easy. Except nothing is simple when you're trying to hide from the whole world. And Dad insists on not telling anyone he has experienced a minor setback in his health. Leslie is completely on board with that. I mean, you gotta figure, like the average senator, they're probably at an age where they'll need like routine surgery things anyway, kind of like what I mean is if they had to report any minor thing, you'd probably be constantly hearing it, like anybody else. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I just assume they're all like healthy, and like maybe they're not. Like, you know, maybe we don't know. For all we know, like JD Vance has butt cancer or something. I mean, I don't know. I wish them all the best. I'm just only saying. Okay. Leslie is completely on board with that. She's reporting that my father had a nasty case of food poisoning. He'll be back to his regularly scheduled activities in a few days. My eldest sister, Missy, stepped in to handle appearances at a couple of charity events that couldn't be canceled. You look exhausted, Aves, she said. Why don't you get away for a little while, since Leslie has pretty much cleared the schedule anyway. Go see Elliot. Allison and I can keep an eye on things at Drayton Hill. Thanks, but, well, you're sure? Go. Talk wedding plans. Maybe you can convince him to knuckle under to the mom pressure. I didn't tell her that. Other than a few rushed conversations, Elliot and I haven't even discussed wedding ideas. We have too much else going on. Elliot had to fly to Milan to meet with a client, but I think I'll go down to the old place on a disto. Has anyone been there lately? Scott and I took the kids for a few days. Oh, I guess it was last spring. The housekeeping service keeps the place in such great shape. It should be all ready for you. Go have a little vacay. I was packing a suitcase almost before she could tell me to say hello to the beach for her. On the way out of town, I paid a long overdue visit to May Crandall's nursing home. An attendant there told me May had been hospitalized with a respiratory infection. The attendant didn't know how serious it was or when to expect May back, which means that the mysterious packet of papers on a disto is my one possible lead, at least for now. Trent Turner won't take my phone calls, period. My only option is to confront him in person. The envelope he's holding has begun to haunt my every waking moment. I'm getting a little obsessed, making up stories in which he plays different parts in each scene. Sometimes he's a blackmailer who has discovered a horrible truth about my family and sold the information to my father's opponents. That's why he won't answer my calls. Other times, he's the man in May Crandall's photograph. The pregnant woman he's holding close is my grandmother, and she's had some sort of hidden life before she married my grandfather. A teenage love affair, a scandal that's been covered up for generations. She gave the baby away and it's been living somewhere all this time. Now, our dispossessed heir wants a fair share of the family's money, or else. All my scenarios seem crazy, but they're not completely unfounded. I've learned things from reading between the lines in my grandmother's appointment books. My dragonfly bracelet has some sort of deeper history on a disto. A lovely gift for a lovely day on a disto. The entry read, just us. It's the just us part that niggles at me. Only a page before, she noted receiving a letter from my grandfather, who had taken the children fishing in the mountains for the week. Just us. Who? Who was buying gifts for her on a disto in 1966? My grandmother often came here alone over the years, but many times she was alone after she arrived on the island. That much was obvious from her date books. Could she have been having an affair? My stomach roils as the Dahu Bridge rises ahead. That can't be the case. Despite the pressure of a life lived in public, my family has always been known for rock solid marriages. My grandmother loved my grandfather deeply. Aside from that, Grandma Judy is one of the most upright people I know. She's a pillar of the community and a fixture at the Methodist Church. She would never, ever keep a secret from the family unless that secret is something that could hurt us. And that's exactly what scares me. It's also why I can't have an envelope floating around heaven knows where with my grandmother's name on it and some sort of clandestine information inside. Ready or not, here I come. I whisper into the salt air. What was it that you wanted with my grandmother, Trent Turner? While sitting in cars and doctors' waiting rooms these past few weeks, I've tried researching Trent Turner Sr. and Trent Turner Jr., the grandfather and father of the Trent I talked to on the phone, who is Trent Turner III. I've looked for political connections, criminal records, or whatever might explain ties to my grandmother. I've used all my favorite prosecutor tricks. Unfortunately, there's nothing obvious, according to an obit from 7 months ago in the Charleston paper. Trent Turner Sr. was a lifelong resident of Charleston and Edisto Island and the owner of Turner Real Estate, just an ordinary fellow, plain and simple. His son, Trent Jr., is married and lives in Texas, where he owns a real estate agency. Trent Turner III doesn't seem to be anyone out of the ordinary either. He played basketball at Clemson and was pretty good at it. He was in the commercial real estate business until recently, mostly in New York. A local press release from a few months ago indicates he left the city behind to take over his grandfather's business on a disto. Why? I can't help but wonder, does a man who's been brokering high rises suddenly move to an out-of-the-way place like a disto and start dealing in beach cottages and vacation rentals? I'll find out soon enough. I've looked up his work address one way or another. I plan to leave the Turner Real Estate office with my grandmother's envelope and all of its contents, whatever they may be. Despite the nervousness that stirs inside me, a disto begins to work its magic, and I descend the island side of the bridge and continue along the highway, passing small sea-weathered homes and a few businesses tucked among pines and live oaks. Overhead, the sky is a perfect shade of blue. This place is still so much like I remember it. It has a peaceful, gracious, untraveled feel. There's a reason the locals have nicknamed the island It is Slow. The ancient oaks bow low over the road, as if seeking to shield it from the outside world. Moss-laden trees paint deep shade over the small SUV I've spirited away from the barn at Drayton Hill for the trip. The back roads on Edisto can be a little rugged, and beyond that, showing up in a BMW didn't seem like a good idea considering that I'm wondering if the contents of the envelope have anything to do with blackmail. The Turner Real Estate building is easy to find. It's quaint, but not necessarily impressive. The sort of place that's happy to be just what it is, a seawater blue vintage cottage on Jungle Road, just a couple blocks from the water. Now that I'm here, it does look vaguely familiar, but as a kid, of course, I never had any reason to go inside. As I park and cross the sand sprinkled lot, I've momentarily I'm momentarily jealous of the man I've come here to find. I could work in a place like this. I could live here even. Just another day in paradise. Every single morning from not far away, laughter and beach sounds drift over. Colorful kites fly above the treetops, kept in the air by a steady sea breeze. Two little girls run down the street, trailing long red ribbons on sticks. Three women pedal by on bicycles, laughing. Once again, I'm envious and then I think, why don't I come here more often? Why don't I ever call my sisters or my mother and say, hey, let's just take off and go sit in the sun a while? We could use some girl time, right? Why haven't Elliot and I ever come here? The answer tastes bitter, so I don't chew on it very long. Our schedules are always filled with other things. That's why. Who chooses the schedules we keep? We do, I guess. Although so often it seems as if there isn't any choice if we aren't constantly slapping new paint on all the ramparts. The wind and the weather will sneak in and erode the accomplishments of a dozen previous generations of the family. The good life demands a lot of maintenance. Walking up the porch steps to Turner Real Estate, I grab a fortifying breath. The sign says, come on in, we're open, so I do. A jingle bell announces my entry, but there's no one behind the counter. The front room is a lobby area with colorful vinyl chairs lining its edges. A water cooler waits with paper cups. Racks display endless brochures. A popcorn machine reminds me that I've missed lunch. Beautiful photographs of the island line the walls. The base of the counter across the room is decorated with children's artwork and photos of happy families posing in front of their new beach homes. The display randomly mixes past and present. Some of the black and whites appear to be from all the way back in the 50s. I stand and I scan them, looking for my grandmother. There's no sign of her. Hello, I venture, since nobody seems to be materializing from the rooms down the hall. Hello? Maybe they've stepped out for a minute. The place is dead quiet. My stomach growls, crying out for popcorn. I'm about to raid the machine when the back door opens. I slap the popcorn bag down and turn around. Hey, I didn't know anyone was in here. I recognize Trent Turner III from the photo online, but that picture was taken from a distance, a full body shot in front of the building. He was wearing a ball cap and had a full beard. It didn't do him justice. Now he's clean shaven, dressed in khakis, well worn loafers with no socks, and a nicely fitted polo shirt. He looks like he belongs under an umbrella table somewhere, or in an ad for casual living. He's sandy blonde and blue eyed, the hair just shaggy enough to backhandedly say, I live on beach time. He moves up the hall, juggling a couple to go bags and a drink. I catch myself ogling the hall. I think I smell shrimp and chips. My stomach offers another audible protest. Sorry, there was no one here. I thumb over my shoulder toward the door. Ran out for some lunch. Placing the food on the counter, he looks around for a napkin, then settles for swiping up stray cocktail sauce with a piece of printer paper. Our handshake is sticky but friendly. Trent Turner, he says with casual ease. What can I do for you? His smile makes me want to like him. It's the kind of smile that assumes people do like him. He seems honest, I guess. I called you a couple weeks ago. No sense starting right off with names. Rental or buy and sell? What? A place. Were we talking about a rental or a property listing? He's searching his memory banks clearly, but there's also more than casual interest coming my way. I feel a spark of something. I catch myself smiling back. Guilt niggles at me instantly. Should an engaged woman, even a lonely one, be reacting this way? Maybe it's just because Elliot and I have barely talked in almost 2 weeks. He's been in Milan. The time difference is difficult. He's focused on the job. I'm focused on family issues. Neither one. I guess there's no sense in postponing this any longer. The fact that this guy is good looking and likable doesn't change reality. I called you about something I found at my grandmother's house. My fledgling friendship with Trent Turner is no doubt doomed to be short lived. I'm Avery Stafford. You said you had an envelope addressed to my grandmother, Judy Stafford. I'm here to pick it up. His demeanor changes instantly. Muscular forearms cross over a ripped chest, and the counter quickly becomes a negotiation table, a hostile one. He looks displeased, very. I'm sorry you wasted the trip. I told you I can't give those documents to anyone but the people they're addressed to, not even family members. I have her power of attorney. I'm already pulling it from my oversized purse, being the lawyer in the family, and with my mother and father preoccupied by the health issue, I am the one designated on Grandma Judy's documents. I unfold them and turn the pages toward him as he's lifting his hand to protest. She's in no shape to handle her own affairs. I'm authorized to. He rejects the offering without even looking at the papers. It's not a legal matter. It is if it's her mail. It's not mail. It's more like cleaning up some loose ends from my grandfather's files. His eyes duck away, take in the swaying palms outside the window, evading my probing. It's about the cottage here on Edisto, then. This is a real estate office after all. But why maintain such secrecy over real estate documents? No. His answer is disappointingly brief. Usually, when you throw a wrong assumption at a witness, the witness responds by inadvertently giving you at least a piece of the right one. It's obvious that Trent Turner has been through many a negotiation before. He did say those documents and people, as in multiple, are other families being held hostage as well. I'm not leaving until I find out the truth. There's popcorn. His attempt at humor only serves to stoke the fire in my belly. This isn't a joke. I realize that. For the first time, he seems slightly sympathetic to my plight. His arms uncrossed. A hand runs roughly through his hair. Thick brown lashes close over his eyes. Stress lines form around the edges, hinting at a life that was once considerably more high pressure than this one. Look, I promised my grandfather on his deathbed, and trust me, it's better this way. I don't trust him. That's the point. I'll go after them legally if I have to. That part she says out loud. I'll go after them legally. My grandfather's files? A sardonic laugh indicates that he doesn't take to threats very well. Good luck with that. They were his property. They're my property now. You'll have to be satisfied with that. Not if this could damage my family. The look on his face tells me I've struck close to the truth. I feel sick. My family does have a deep, dark secret. What is it? Trent lets out a long sigh. It's just, this really is for the best. That's all I can tell you. The phone rings and he answers it, seeming to hope the interruption will drive me away. The caller has a million questions about Edisto Beach rentals and activities on the island. Trent takes the time to talk about everything from fishing for black drum to finding mastodon fossils and arrowheads on the beach. He gives the caller a lovely history lesson about wealthy families who resided on Edisto before the war between the states. He talks about fiddler crabs and Love mud and harvesting oysters. He pops fried shrimp into his mouth, savors them while he listens. Turning his back to me, he leans against the counter. I return to my original seat by the door, perch on the edge, and stare at his back while he offers an endless litany about Botany Bay. He seems to describe the 4,000-acre preserve inch by inch. I tap my foot and drum my fingers. He pretends not to notice, but I catch him peeking at me from the corner of his eye. I pull out my phone and thumb through email. If worse comes to worse, I'll scroll through Instagram or dawdle around with the wedding ideas my mom and Bitsy want me to look at on Pinterest. Trent bends over a desktop computer, looks up information, talks about rentals and dates. The customer finally settles on a time and place for the ideal vacation. Oh, they don't have that Airbnb there? You gotta call Trent. Trent confesses that he's not the one who handles logging the rental bookings. His secretary is home with a sick baby, but he'll email her and she'll take care of the confirmations. Finally, after what seems like at least 30 minutes of chatterboxing, he straightens to his full height and looks in my direction. A stare down ensues. This man is, quite possibly, as stubborn as I am. Unfortunately, he can probably hold out longer. He has food. Hanging up the phone, he taps a knuckle to his lips, shakes his head and sighs. It won't matter how long you're here. It's not going to change anything. His frustration is starting to show. I'm getting somewhere. I've got him rattled now. I proceed calmly to the popcorn machine and the water cooler and help myself, thusly equipped for the sit-in. I wander back to my seat. He yanks an office chair into position behind the computer, sits down, and disappears behind a four-drawer file cabinet. At the first taste of popcorn, my stomach lets out an indelicately loud roar. The shrimp basket suddenly appears on the edge of the counter. Manly fingers shove it my way. He doesn't say a word. The kindness makes me feel guilty, even more so as, with a resolute thump, he adds an unopened soda. I'm undoubtedly ruining his perfectly good day. I help myself to a little handful and return to my spot. Guilt and fried shrimp go quite nicely together, it turns out. Computer keys click. Another sigh comes from behind the file cabinet. More time passes. The desk chair squeals in protest as if he's rocking back in it. Don't you Staffords have people to do this kind of thing for you? Sometimes, but not in this case. I'm sure you're used to getting what you want. His insinuation burns. I've been fighting it all my life. The idea that my only qualifications are a cute blonde head and the Stafford name, now with the speculation heating up about my political future. I'm incredibly sick of hearing it. The family name didn't get me through Columbia Law School with honors. I work for what I get, thank you. I don't ask for any special favors, and I don't expect any. So I can call the police and have you removed from my waiting room, just like I would with anyone else who stakes out the place and won't leave when they're asked. Shrimp and popcorn merge to form a lump just below my breastbone. He wouldn't, would he? I can just imagine the newspaper coverage. Leslie would string me up single-handedly. Does that happen often? Not unless someone's tipped back a few too many brewskis on the beach, and the disto's not really that kind of place. We don't get much excitement here. Yes, I know, and I have a feeling that's one reason you won't want the police involved in this. One reason? I doubt you're unaware that there are people who wouldn't have hesitated to threaten my family with information that could be damaging, if there were any such information, and that sort of behavior is illegal. Trent is out of his chair in a heartbeat, and I'm out of mine. We face each other like generals across a war room table. You're about a half-inch from meeting the Edisto Beach police. What did your grandfather want with my grandmother? It wasn't blackmail, that's what you're getting at. My grandfather was an honest man. Why did he leave an envelope for her? They had business in common. What business? Why didn't she tell anyone about it? Maybe she thought that was for the best. Was she coming here to meet someone? Did he find out about it? He draws back, his lips curling. No. Then tell me. I'm in courtroom mode now, focused on one thing, getting to the truth. Give me the envelope. He slams a hand on the counter, rattles everything there, then whips around the end. In a few strides, we're face to face. I stand as tall as I can, and he still towers over me. I refuse to be intimidated. We're settling this thing right here, right now. The bell on the door rings, and it barely registers at first. I'm focused on white rimmed blue eyes and clenched teeth. Whew, it's a hot one outside. Got any popcorn today? When I glance over my shoulder, a man in an official looking uniform, a Park Service employee, or perhaps a game warden, is standing in the doorway, looking back and forth between Trent Turner and me. Oh, didn't know you had company. Come on in, take a load off, Ed. Trent beckons the incomer with friendly enthusiasm, which quickly wanes when he turns my way again and adds, Avery here was just leaving. Chapter 12, Rill. It's 2 weeks before I learn that the kids here are wards of the Tennessee Children's Home Society. 2 weeks she's been there? I don't know what wards mean when I first hear Miss Murphy say it on the telephone. I can't ask either, since I'm not supposed to be listening in. I figured out that if I shiny up under the azalea bushes alongside of the house, I can get close enough to hear through the screens on her office windows. Certainly, all the children are wards of the Tennessee Children's Home Society, Dorothy. I do understand your daughter-in-law's predicament. When unhappy men turn to liquoring and dalliances, it is so difficult for a wife. Adding a child to the home at long last might well brighten up the atmosphere and solve the entire problem. What? Wait. They're giving kids to people because they're liquoring and dalliancing in what? uh Fatherhood has a way of changing a man. I'm certain it won't be a problem, as you'll have no trouble paying for the fees. Yes, quickly, of course. A surprise for their anniversary. How sweet. If I could just give you one of these, Dorothy, I certainly would. I have some darling little cherubs just now, but Miss Tan controls all the decisions. I'm only paid to board the children and oh yeah, what a great gift for your husband. An orphan child. I figure it out from the conversation quick enough that new word wards mean that these kids' parents didn't come back for them. The kids here say that if your parents don't come get you, Miss Tan gives you to somebody else and they take you home. Sometimes those people keep you and sometimes they don't. I'm scared to ask too many questions because we're not supposed to talk about it. But I've got a feeling that's why Stevie's big sister hasn't turned up again since the day we got here. Miss Tam gave her to somebody. Sherry was a ward. We're lucky we're not. We belong to Briny, and he'll fetch us soon as Queenie gets well. It's taken longer than I thought, and that's why I've started listening under Miss Murphy's window. I've been hoping to hear something about Briny. When I ask the workers, they just tell me to behave myself or else we'll have to stay here longer. I can't think of anything much worse than that. So I do my best to see that all of us behave. I'm taking a chance coming up under the window like this, and I know it. We're not allowed to get anywhere near Miss Murphy's flower beds. If she knew I was listening to her phone calls and talks on the front porch when folks come by, I've got a few ideas about what might happen to me. She comes to the screen, and through the azalea leaves, I see cigarette smoke puff out. It hangs in the wet air like the genie floating over Aladdin's lamp and my nose tickles with a sneeze. I slap my hand over my face, and the branches move. A hammer pounds against my ribs from the inside. Miss Polnick, she yells. Miss Polnick. My skin goes cold. Don't run, I tell myself. First steps come in the hallway inside. What is it, Miss Murphy? Instruct Riggs to put out poison this evening under the azaleas. Those infernal rabbits have gone into my flower beds again. I will be putting him to the task immediately and have him tidy up the front yard and pull the weeds. Tell him to make use of the older boys in any way he sees fit. Miss Tan will be coming tomorrow. I'll have the place presentable or else. Yes, Miss Murphy. What's become of the ones in the sick room? The toddler boy with the deep violet eyes in particular. Miss Tan wants to see him. She has promised him for an order in New York. He is lethargic, I'm afraid to say. As well, he is thin. He takes a little bit of corn mush. I do not believe he will travel well. Miss Tan will not be pleased. I am not pleased. You think that having been raised in back alleys and ditches, the little gutter snipes will be hardier. That is true, yes. The girl in the sick room is declining as well. For 2 days she refuses to eat. The doctor should be summoned, yes? No, of course not. Why in heaven's name would I have a doctor called over a bit of the runs? Children always have the runs. Give her some ginger root. That should do it. As you wish. How is little Stevie coming along? He is roughly the size of the boy in the sick room. Older, but that can be changed. What color are his eyes? Brown, but he has become stubborn and wetting the bed as well, and he will not speak even a word. I do not believe a client would be content with him. That will not do. Secure him to the bed and leave him in it for the day if he wets again. A blister or two will teach the lesson. In any case, brown eyes won't satisfy for this order. Blue, green, or violet. Those have specifically been requested, not brown. Robbie? My throat catches. Robbie is the name they call my little brother. There's not another Robbie in the house. I'm afraid not. The 5 are being saved for a special viewing event. I swallow the burning in my throat, push it all the way down to my stomach. A special viewing event? I think I know what that means. I've seen parents come here a few times. They wait on the porch and the workers bring their kids to them, clean and dressed with their hair all combed. The parents carry presents and give hugs and cry when they have to go. That must be what a viewing event is. Bryony's coming to see us soon, but that worries me too. Last week, a man showed up to visit his little boy, and Miss Murphy told him the boy wasn't here. He's been placed for adoption. I'm very sorry. That was what she said. He's got to be here, the man argued. Lonnie Kemp, he's mine. I didn't sign him over for adopting. The children's home is just boarding him till I get back on my feet. Miss Murphy didn't seem worried, even when the man broke down and cried. Nonetheless, he is gone. The family court deemed it best. He has been taken in by parents who can provide very well for him. But he's my son. You mustn't be selfish, Mr. Kemp. What's done is done. Think of the child. He will be given what you could never provide for him. He's my son. The man fell down on his knees and sobbed right there on the porch. Miss Murphy just went back inside and shut the door. After a while, Mr. Riggs hauled the man up and walked him to the street and put him in his truck. He sat there all day watching toward the yard, looking for his boy. God, these women are sick. This is what people do. They just justify it to themselves. Money that would justify just anything. Oh, you stole a man's child. Oh, but hey, someone else might have more money, so it's okay. How do you sleep at night? The fact that this shit really happened, like this was a real woman doing this, is like evil. Okay. Watching the yard. I'm worried that Bryony might come here and have the same problem. Only Bryony won't stand there and cry. He'll bust his way in, and something terrible will happen. Mr. Riggs is a big man. Miss Tan knows the police. Take the utmost care of the little one in the sick room, Miss Murphy says now. Give him a nice hot bath and some ice cream, maybe a ginger snap. Pep him up a little bit. I'll ask Miss Tam if she might delay the order a day or two. I want him well enough to travel. Do you understand? Yes, Miss Murphy. Miss Polnick's words hiss through clenched teeth, which tells me I sure don't want to get caught here under the azalea bushes today. When she's in that mood, you better run fast and hide good, because she's looking for somebody to take it out on. The last thing I hear is Miss Murphy crossing the room and yelling to the hall. And don't forget about poisoning those rabbits. I grab up a broken branch and quietly start stirring the leaves over my knee prints so Mr. Riggs won't be able to see that I've been here. I wouldn't want him to tell Miss Polnick, but that's not what scares me the most. What scares me the most is Mr. Riggs knowing someone's been going up under here at all. To make it to the azalea bushes, you gotta go slip past the cellar doors. Riggs keeps them open, and if he can, he'll get kids in there with him one way or the other. Nobody talks about what goes on down there, even the big boys. If you talk about it, they say, Riggs will get you, snap your neck, and say you fell out of a tree or tripped on the porch steps. Then they'll cart your body off to the swamps and feed it to the gators, and nobody will ever hear about you again. James, the big red-headed boy, has been here long enough. He's seen it happen. We give him peppermints, and he tells us what we need to know to get by here at Miss Murphy's place. We're not friends, but candies will buy you a lot around here. Every morning when we wake up, there's a little wad of peppermints shoved under the door of our room. At night, I hear Mr. Riggs come around. He tries the knob, but it's locked. Then the workers always take the keys when they put us in bed. I'm glad. Sometimes after Mr. Riggs comes by our room, I hear him walking up the stairs to the house. I don't know where he goes, but I'm glad we're down in the cellar. It's cold and the army cots are scratchy and smelly, and we have to use slop pie at night, but at least nobody can get at us when we're in there. I hope Bryony comes before enough beds empty out to move us upstairs. Riggs is just headed in the cellar door when I get to the end of the azalea hedge. I almost don't see him quick enough to let the branches fall back and hide me. He looks right at me before he walks down the steps, but he can't see me. I'm like the invisible man again. The invisible girl, that's who I am. I wait until I'm sure he's gone, and then I creep out of my spot, quiet as a little bobcat. The thing about bobcats is they can be 2 foot from you and you'll never know it. One big breath, and I run past the cellar door and around the fig tree. After you're past it, you're safe. Riggs knows the workers look out the kitchen window a lot. He won't do things where anybody else can see. Chameleia is waiting for me on the hill behind the church house playground. Lark and Fern are riding a teeter-totter with Gabion in the middle. Stevie is sitting in the dirt beside Chameleia. He climbs over to my lap soon as I sit down. Good, Chameleia says. Get him off me. He stinks like pee. He can't help it. Stevie wraps his arm around my neck and lays against my chest. He's sticky and he does smell bad. I rub a hand over his head and he whimpers and pulls away. There's a goose egg under his hair. The helpers here like to thump kids on the head where it won't show. Yes, he can help it. He could talk too if he wanted to. He's just getting himself in trouble with the workers. I told him he better stop it or else. Camellia is a fine one to talk. If any of us does get the closet while we're here, it'll be her. I still don't know for sure what happens in the closet, but it must be bad. Just a couple days ago, Miss Murphy stood over the breakfast table and said, when the food thief is caught, it'll be the closet, and not just for one day. Nothing's disappeared from the kitchen since. Stevie's just scared. He misses. I stop without saying it. It'll only make him upset if I bring up his sister. Sometimes I forget that even though he won't talk anymore, he can still understand everything we say. What do you hear at the window? Camellia hates it that I won't let anybody else go under the azaleas. She always looks me over and sniffs at me to see if I found any peppermints while I was there. She thinks the big boys are lying about Mr. Riggs. I don't watch her. She'll try to sidle off over there while we're out to play. I can't turn my back on her for a minute, unless I'm leaving her with the babies to watch. She didn't say anything about Bryony. I'm still trying to make sense of what I heard under Miss Murphy's window. I'm not sure how much of it I should tell Camellia. He ain't coming. He got himself in jail or something, and he can't get out. Queenie's dead. I scrambled to my feet, taking Stevie with me. No, she ain't. Don't you say that, Amelia. Don't you ever say that. On the playground, the teeter-totters stop, and feet scrape the ground to hold swing still. Kids look our way. They're used to watching the big boys get in fights and roll around and kick and punch. It don't usually happen with girls. It's true. Chameleia on her feet, quick as a whip, her chin poking out, her long skinny arms cocked at her hips. Wads of freckles seem to squint her eyes down to practically nothing, and her nose scrunches up. She looks like a spotted pig. It ain't. It's so. Stevie whines and squirms to get away. I figure I better let him. He runs off the teeter-totter, where Lark grabs him up in her arms. Chameleia rears back a fist. It won't be the first time we've gotten in a knockdown, spit-flying, hair-pulling match. Hey, you cut that out. Before I even see it coming, James is out of the big boy's hidey hole, and he's headed our way. I don't think she's necessarily dead. I'm thinking something happened, like with the hospital. Remember how in the opening, like prelude or whatever, I'm trying to see what it's called. How it says prelude, Baltimore, Maryland, 1939. My story begins on a sweltering August night. It doesn't say the name. In a place I will never set my eyes upon. So this is in remember it's in like a hospital, and the woman gives birth, and supposedly the baby's like dead. They say, and then they say to the guy outside, oh, we hear there's this place, like essentially somebody from the hospital. In the prelude, the woman believes, or whoever it is believes, they are like trafficking all through the hospital, at least as a conduit for the kids. What I'm saying is, I think they found these kids probably through the hospital that the mom, the Queenie and Brian, and the mom and dad were at. Doesn't mean that they're dead, but they're getting like, probably they asked them questions and knew that there are kids there, and they were able to get them. Okay. Hey, you cut that out. Before I can see it coming, James is out of the big boy's hidey hole, and he's headed our way. Chameleia hesitates just long enough for him to get to her. His big hand snakes out and grabs her dress, and he slings her into the dirt hard. Stay down, he growls and points a finger. She doesn't, of course. She pops to her feet, madder than a swatted hornet. He shoves her down again. Hey, I yell, stop it. She's my sister, even if she was about to punch my lights out. James looks my way and grins, the chipped tooth showing the pink tip of his tongue. You want me to? Chameleia takes a swing at him, and he grabs her arm, holding her far enough away that she can kick him. She's like a daddy long-legged spider with one foot stuck in a door. He squeezes so hard her skin goes purple. Her eyes fill up and spill over, but she just keeps on fighting. Stop, I yell. Let her alone. You want me to? Then you be my girlfriend, pretty girl, he says, and elsewise she's fair game. Chameleia roars and squeals and goes wild. Let her be. I take a swing, and James grabs my wrist, and now he's got us both. My bones crush together. The babies run over from the playground, even Stevie, and start pounding James's legs. He swings Chameleia around and uses her to knock down Fern and Gabion. Fern's nose spouts blood, and she screams, grabbing her face. All right, I say. What else can I do? I look around for grown-ups, and like always, there aren't any. All right, what, pretty girl? James asks. All right, I'll be your girlfriend, but I ain't gonna kiss you. That seems good enough for him. He dumps Chameleia in the dirt and tells her she better stay there. He makes me follow him up the hill and drags me around an old outhouse. This is so romantic. that's nailed shut so nobody can get in and get snake bit. For the second time that day, a hammer pounds inside me. I ain't kissing you. I tell him again. Shut up, he says. Behind the outhouse, he pushes me to the dirt and plops down next to me, still squeezing my arm. My breath comes fast and hangs in my throat. I taste my stomach. What's he plan to do to me? Growing up on a boat with 4 babies born after I came along, I know a little bit about what men and women do together. I don't want somebody to do that to me, ever. I don't like boys, and I never will. James' breath smells like rotten potatoes, and the only boy I've ever thought I might let kiss me was Silas, and that was only for a minute or two. The chants of his gang wind their way around the building. James got a girlfriend. James got a girlfriend. James and May sitting in a tree. Kissing. Rick Shithouse. Yes. I still remember that date night. The orphan version of Cool Hand. You know what? I've never seen that. That's is that Clint Eastwood? But James doesn't try and kiss me. He just sits there with red splotches working up his neck and over his cheeks. It's just ownership. This one's pretty. She's mine. All right. You're pretty. His voice squeaks like a baby pig's. It's funny, but I don't laugh. Too scared. No, I ain't. You're real pretty. He lets go of my wrist and tries to hold my hand. I pull it away and wrap my arms around my knees, holding myself in a tight ball. I don't like boys, I tell him. I'm going to marry you someday. I don't want to marry anybody. I'm going to build a boat and go down the river, take care of myself. I might get on your boat too. No, you ain't. We sit there a while. The boys down the hill chant, James got a girlfriend. Kissing. He lolls his elbows over his knees, looking at me. That's where you come from? The river? Yep, it is. We talk about boats. James is from a dirt farm in Shelby County. Miss Ham picked him and his brother up off the side of the road when they were walking to school one day. He was in the 4th grade then. He's been here ever since and not seen a day of school this whole time. His brother's long gone, adopted. Oh, Paul Newman. Oh, that's nice that now they're talking. James lifts his chin. I don't want me some new parents, he says. I figure I'll be too big pretty soon and I'll get out of here. I'm going to need me a wife. We can go live on the river if you want. My daddy's coming back to get us. I feel bad saying it. I feel sorry for James. He seems lonesome more than anything. Lonesome and sad. He'll be here pretty soon. James just shrugs. I'll bring you some tea cakes tomorrow, but you still gotta be my girlfriend. I don't answer. My mouth waters thinking about tea cakes. I guess now I know who's been sneaking around in the kitchen at night. You had an audit. You might get the closet. I ain't scared. He puts his hand over mine. I let it stay there. Maybe I don't mind it too much. Pretty soon, I figure out it's not so bad being James' girlfriend after all. He ain't hard to talk to, and he only wants to hold my hand. Nobody bothers me the rest of the day. Nobody's mean to Chameleia or Lark or the babies. James and I walk around the yard and hold hands, and he tells me more things I need to know about Miss Murphy's house. He promises me tea cakes again. He describes just how he'll sneak down and get them tonight. I tell him I don't like tea cakes. In the bath line, the big boys don't look at me. They know they better not. But the next day, James isn't at breakfast. Miss Polnick stands over the table, tapping a wood spoon in her big meaty hand. She says they sent James off to a place where the boys have to earn their keep instead of getting it by the kindness of the Tennessee Children's Home Society. A boy who's old enough to pursue after the girls is old enough for work and too old to be wanted by a good family. Miss Murphy will be having none of this behavior between boys and girls here. Each of you knows our rules. She slaps the spoon hard against the table, her breath coming in heavy snorts that make her wide, flat nose flare out. We jerk upright like puppets with strings bolted to our heads. She leans toward the boys' side of the table. They duck and stare at their empty bowls. And for the girls, the spoon and the jiggly arm come our way now. So much shame to you for causing trouble to the boys. Mind yourselves. Keep your skirts and behave as little women should. The last word comes with a hard look at me, or I do not want to think of what may happen to you. Blood rushes hot up my neck and burns in my cheeks. I feel bad for getting James sent away. I shouldn't have been his girlfriend. I didn't know. The workers don't bring Stevie down for breakfast either. He's not on the playground. The other kids tell me he has to stay in his bed because he wet it again last night. I see him in the upstairs window later, with his nose pushed against the screen. I stand in the yard and whisper up at him, "Be good, all right? Just be good, that's all." Later on that afternoon, the workers lines us up on the porch, and I gather my sisters and my brother close because I'm scared. Even the other kids don't seem to know what's happening. Miss Polnick and the workers march us by the rain barrel one by one. They swipe dirty faces and arms and knees with wet cloths and brush hair and have us wash our hands. Some kids are made to change their clothes right there on the porch. Some kids get fresh clothes or pinafores to put right on top of their play clothes. Miss Murphy comes outside and stands on the top step and looks us over. A wire rug beater dangles off her arm. I've never seen the kitchen women use it to knock the dirt out of the rugs, but I've seen it used on the kids a lot. The kids call it the wire witch. Something very special will be happening today, Miss Murphy says, but it's only for good little boys and girls. Anyone who isn't on best behavior will not be allowed to participate. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. I say it right along with the rest of the kids. Very well, she smiles. But the smile makes me back up a step. Today, the bookmobile will be coming. The kind ladies of the Aid Society will be giving of their time to help you select books. It is very important that we make a good showing. Each of you may have one book to read if you are good. She goes on and tells us to mind our manners and say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Don't grab and touch all the books. And if the workers ask whether we're happy here, we're to tell them we're very grateful to Miss Tan for finding us and to Miss Murphy for taking us into her home. I lose track of all the rest. All I can think is that we're going to have a chance at a book. And there's not much I like better than books, especially books I haven't read yet. With 5 of us, we can get 5 books. But when the workers unlock the yard gate and the line starts out, Miss Murphy stops Chameleia and me and the babies. Not you, she says. Since you haven't a place upstairs yet, you've no good spot to keep books, and we can't have the library's property being damaged. We'll treat them real careful, I promise, I blurt out. Normally, I never talk back to Miss Murphy, but I can't help it this time. Please, could we get one book at least? And I can read it to my sisters and my brother. Queenie used to. I button my lips before I can get myself in more trouble. We're not allowed to talk about our mamas and daddies here. Sighing, she hangs the rug beater on a nail in one of the porch posts. Very well, but there's no need for the little ones to go. Just you, and be quick. It takes me a second to decide whether to leave the babies. Chameleia grabs their arms and drags them toward her. Go! She pops her eyes at me. Get us something good. I give them one last look before scooting out the gate. It's all I can do not to run across the yard and bust through the magnolias. It smells like freedom out here. It smells good. I have to make myself stay in line to follow the rest of the kids around to the driveway real orderly. On the other side of the tree wall, there's a big black truck. 2 more cars pull up. Miss Tan gets out of one, and a man with a camera gets out of the other. They shake hands, and the man takes a notepad and pen from his pocket. The big black truck says Shelby County Libraries on the side, and Once we get closer, I can see that there are shelves coming right out the back of it, and the shelves are full of books. The kids mill around them, and I have to put my hands behind my back and lace my fingers tight to keep them from touching things while I wait my turn. As you can observe for yourself, we provide the children with many stimulating opportunities, Miss Tan says, and the man writes on his notepad like the words are going to get away if he doesn't catch them fast enough. Some of our little ones have never enjoyed the luxury of books before coming to us. We provide wonderful books and toys in all of our homes. I duck my head and fidget and wish the crowd would thin out. If Miss Tan has other places like this, I don't know what they're like, but there's not a single book around Miss Murphy's, and all the toys are broke. Nobody even cares enough to fix them. Miss Tan's been here enough. She's got to know that. Poor little waifs, she says to the man. We take them in when they are unwanted and unloved. We provide them with all their parents cannot or will not give them. I bolt my eyes to the ground and make fists behind my back. It's a lie. I wish I could scream at the man. My mama and daddy want us. They love us. So did the father who came to see his little boy Lonnie and ended up broke down on the porch crying like a baby when they said Lonnie'd been adopted. How long does the average child remain with the society? The man asked. Oh, we have no average children here. Miss Tan pushes out a high little laugh. Only extraordinary ones. Some may remain longer than others, depending on the condition in which they come to us. Some are weak and small when they arrive, and so wane they cannot even run and play. We plump them up with 3 nourishing meals per day. Children require good food to grow properly. Plenty of fruits and vegetables and red meats always put the glow back in their little cheeks. Not at Miss Murphy's house. At Miss Murphy's house is cornmeal mush, one little bowl, morning and night. We're hungry all the time. Gabby's skin is pale as milk, and Larkin Fern's arms are so thin you can see the muscles in the bones. We monitor all of our boarding homes to be certain the children are properly fed and well treated. She acts like it's true for a fact. The man nods and writes and says, like he's swallowing a whole and it tastes real good. Go look in the backyard, I want to tell him. Go look in the kitchen. You'll see how it really is. I want to say it's so bad, but I know if I do, I won't get a book, but I will get the closet. The children are so very grateful. We pull them from the gutters, and someone touches my arm, and I jump without meaning to. A lady in a blue dress looks down on me. Her smile is bright as sunshine. And what do you like to read about? She asks. What sort of books? You've been so patiently waiting all this time. Yes, ma'am. She leads me toward the bookshelves, and my eyes pop out of my head. I forget all about Miss Tan, and all I can think about are books. I've been to libraries in river towns before, but back then we had books of our own on the Arcadia too. Now we haven't got anything, and when you haven't got a single book, the idea of putting your hands on one is like Christmas and a birthday rolled up together. I I like any kind, I stammer out. Just looking at the shelves and seeing all those colors and words makes me smile real big. I feel happy for the first time since we came here. Maybe a long book would be good since we just get one. Smart girl, the woman winks at me. Are you a good reader? Yes, real good. Back on. I ducked my head because I was about to say back on the Arcadia. Queenie had us reading all the time. There's a worker standing not 2 foot from me, and Miss Tan isn't far off either. If she heard that, I'd be out of here as quick as spit. All right, then, the book lady says. Let's see. I like adventures, adventure stories. Adventures about what? Queens and princesses and wild Indians, all kinds of things. My mind fills with tales. Maybe a western, then. Or the river. Have you got a story about that? A book about the river will be like going home again. It keep us till Bridie takes us back to the Arcadia. The woman claps her hands together. Oh, yes, I do. She lifts a finger into the air. I have the perfect thing for you. After a minute of looking, she hands me Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mr. Mark Twain. And I figured that one really was meant just for me. We've never had this book, but Bryony has told us all about Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and Injun Joe. Mark Twain is one of Bryony's favorites. He used to read those books when he was little. You'd think him and Tom Sawyer were personal friends even. The lady in the blue dress writes my new name, May Weathers, on the card. When she stamps the date in the book, I realize yesterday was Fern's birthday. She's 4 now. Oh. If we were on the Arcadia, Queenie would bake her a little cake, and we'd all give her presents we made by hand or found along the riverbank. Here at Miss Murphy's, the library book will have to do. When I get back to the yard, I'll tell Fern it's her birthday surprise. But she only gets to keep it a while. We'll make a mud cake and use flowers for frosting and add twig candles with little leaves balanced on top, so Fern can play like she's blowing them out. The library lady gives me a hug before she sends me off, and it feels so good. I want to stay right there and hang on to her and smell the books, but I can't. I hold Huckleberry Finn real tight against my chest and start across the yard. Now we can leave this place behind anytime we want. All we gotta do is join up with Huckleberry Finn. There's room in his raft for all 5 of us, I bet. Maybe we'll find the Arcadia out there somewhere. Even though I have to head back to Miss Murphy's house, it feels like a whole new place. Now it's got a river in it. That very night before bed, we open Fern's birthday book and start on our adventures with Huck Finn. We've been traveling down water with him for almost a week when Miss Tan's shiny black car rolls up the driveway one afternoon. It's a sunny day and hot as fry grease in the house, so her and Miss Murphy meet out on the porch to talk. I skitter around the fig tree and go up under the azaleas to listen. Oh, yes, the advertisements have already run in all the papers, Miss Tan is saying. I've had such a brilliant vision, I must admit. Fair-haired cherubs for a fair summer season, yours for the asking. Perfect, isn't it? All the little blondes. Like a gathering of wood nymphs, little elves and fairies, Miss Murphy agrees. It is almost as compelling as the Christmas baby program. Customers have been calling already. Once they see the children, they'll be vying against one another, without a doubt. You'll have all the children ready on Saturday morning then. I will expect them well-dressed, dirndles and bows and all the niceties, baths all around and scrub every one of them down to the nubbins. No grimy fingernails or dirt behind the ears. Be sure they know what is expected of them and what will happen to them if they humiliate me in public. Make an example of someone ahead of time and be certain the other children see it. This party represents an important opportunity to grow our reputation for offering the finest. Jesus. With the new advertisements, we'll have all the best families in Tennessee and a dozen states beyond. They'll all be coming to see our children, and when they see them, they won't be able to help themselves. They'll have to have one. We'll make certain the children are properly prepared. Just let me look again at the list. They stop talking, papers rattle, the wind shifts and blows the azalea branches, and I see Miss Tan's head. Her short gray-brown hair catches the breeze and stands up straight. When she bends close to Miss Murphy, I press against the wall and hold real still, afraid they'll hear me, and I look over the railing. The wind brings up the smell of something dead. I can't see it, but it probably ate the poison Mr. Riggs put out. Once the stink gets bad enough, he'll find the body and bury it someplace. Even May? Miss Murphy asks, and my ears perk up. She's hardly a cherub. Miss Tan gives a sharp little laugh. She'll be a help with the little ones, and she is quite a pretty thing to look at, as I recall. I suppose so. Miss Murphy doesn't sound happy. She isn't a troublemaker, to be sure. I'll have cars come for them at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Do not send them hungry or sleepy or needing to use the bathroom. Perky and bright and guaranteed to behave. That is my expectation. Yes, of course. What in heaven's name is that ghastly smell? Rabbits. We've had a problem with them this summer. I slip away before they can decide to go looking. Mr. Riggs is nowhere around, so it doesn't take me long to get past the fig tree and back to the hill. I don't tell Chameleia about the viewing party or that we're supposed to have an extra bath tomorrow. No sense letting her get started on a conniption fit ahead of time. I've got a bad feeling that I don't need to tell her about the extra bath anyhow. Chameleia hasn't got blonde hair. Turns out I'm right. After breakfast on Saturday, I find out that Chamelea's not on the list. Wherever we're going, she's not going with us. I ain't sorry they don't want me if it means another bath. She pushes me away when I try to hug her goodbye. Be good while we're gone, Amelia. Don't give anybody trouble. And stay away from the big boys. And don't go past the fig tree. And I don't need looking after. Camellia lifts her chin, but there's a little quiver in her bottom lip. She's afraid. May! One of the workers barks. In line now. They've already got all the kids on the list gathered up. We'll be back real quick, I whisper to Camellia. Don't be scared. I ain't. But then she hugs me after all. The worker yells at me again, and I hurry into line. The next hour and a half is full of soap and scrubbing and hairbrushing and bows and toothbrushes under our fingernails and ribbons and lazy new clothes. We try on shoes from a closet full until we find some that fit. By the time the workers take us to the cars out front, we don't even look like the same kids. There's the four of us, three other girls, a boy who's 5, 2 babies, and Stevie, who's been told that if he wets his pants again, he'll get a whipping right then and there. We're not allowed to talk in the car. On the way over, the worker does the talking. Girls, you will sit politely with your legs together like young ladies. Do not speak unless you are spoken to. You will be mannerly toward the attendees at Miss Tan's party. You will say only good things about your time at Miss Murphy's house. There will be toys and colors, cakes and cookies at the party today. You will, I lose track of her voice as the car goes over a hill and comes within sight of the river. May fades like a speck of sun on the water, and Rill comes out. She stretches toward the crack at the top of the window and pulls in air and catches all the familiar scents. For just a minute, she's home. Then the car turns a corner, and the river's gone again. Something heavy and sad settles over me. I lean my head against the seat, and the worker tells me to stop. I'm smashing my hair bow. In my lap, Gabian falls asleep, and I cuddle him close and let his hair tickle my chin. And I'm back home again anyway. These people can control everything about me, but they can't control where I go in my mind. But my visit to the Arcadia is too short. Pretty soon we pull up to a tall white house that's even bigger than Miss Murphy's. Anyone who does not behave will be very sorry, the worker says, and points a finger in our faces before letting us out of the car. Be friendly with the guests at the party. Sit in their laps if they ask you to smile. Show them that you are good children. We go inside, and the house is filled with people. Other kids are there too, and babies. Everyone is dressed in pretty clothes, and we have cakes and cookies to eat. There are toys for the little kids. And before I know it, Fern and Gabian and even Lark wander away from me. A man takes Gabian outside to play with a blue ball. A dark-haired woman sits with Lark, and they color in a picture book together. Fern laughs and plays peekaboo with a pretty blonde-headed lady who sits off in a chair by herself, looking tired and sad. Fern makes her laugh, and pretty soon the lady's carrying my sister from toy to toy, like Fern can't walk for herself. They finally cuddle into a chair to read a book, and my heart squeezes. I think about Queenie and how she used to read to us. I want the woman to let go of Fern, to give her back. A man comes into the room and tickles Fern on the belly, and the woman smiles and says, "Oh, Darren, she is perfect. Amelia would have been this age." She pats the chair arm. "Sit and read the book with us." "You go ahead." He kisses her on the cheek. "I have some people to talk to." Then he leaves the room. Fern and the woman are on their second book, when the man comes back. They're so busy, they don't even notice that he sits down next to me on the sofa. Are you sisters? He asks. Yes, sir, I answer, just like I've been told to. Ma'am and sir to everything. Leaning away, he takes a good look at me. You do favor one another. Yes, sir. I stare down at my hands. My heart speeds up, bumping around my chest like a wren caught in the shanty house. What does he want? The man lays a hand on my back. My shoulder blades fold around it. Little hairs tug at the bottom of my neck. Sweat drips under my scratchy dress. And how old, the man asks, are you? Uh, Chapter 13, Avery. So it looks like Burn's going to be adopted. The cottage is quiet and filled with moonlight as I swing open the door. I fumble for the light switch and brace my cell phone against my shoulder as I wait for my Uncle Clifford to answer the question I've just asked. He's put me on hold while he orders food at a drive-through window. The glasses with the pointy ends. It's like the lady from um Real Monsters Inc. Oh my God, taking the babies. I mean, it's really creepy because people have said like they want babies like to adopt, and I guess if you're unscrupulous, then maybe it's easier to get one because you can just take advantage of people. I'm consumed by the strongest memory of arriving here after dark for a visit. Just my grandmother and me. The cottage was exactly like this, moon spears fanning over the floor in the shape of palmetto fronds, the air smelling of salt water and sandy carpets and lemon oil, and furniture that has lived long by the sea. I wiggle my fingers. I can almost feel her hand wrapped around mine. I must have been about 11 or 12, that awkward age when I quit holding her hand in public, but here in our magic place, it was okay. Standing in the entry now, I reach for that sense of comfort, but this visit is pungent with opposing tastes, bitter and sweet, familiar and strange, the taste of life. Uncle Clifford comes back on the line. After a long walk along the beach and supper at the waterfront restaurant, I decided that my uncle might be the only means of making progress in my quiet quest for now. Trent Turner ditched me by taking off in a Jeep with the guy in the uniform. I waited around in my car, but the Turner real estate office remained closed all afternoon. So far, this trip is looking like a bust. What was it that you needed, Avery? What about the Edisto house? Uncle Clifford wants to know. So I'm just wondering if you and Dad came here much with Grandma Judy when you were little. I mean, I'm keeping it casual, trying not to tip him off to anything. Uncle Clifford was a federal agent in his younger years. Did Grandma Judy have friends she met here or people she came to see? Well, let me think. He ruminates for a while, then simply says, I don't guess we went there all that much now that you mention it. We visited more when I was young. Once we were older, we liked Granny Stafford's place on Hawley's Island better. The house was bigger, and the sailboat was there, and more often than not, we had cousins around to play with. Usually, Mama went to the Edisto cottage by herself. She liked to write there. She dabbled in poetry a bit, and she did the society column for a while. I'm momentarily dumbfounded. Grandma Judy wrote a society column, otherwise known as the Weekly Gossip. Well, not under her own name, of course. Under what name? If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. Uncle Clifford. While my dad is straight-laced, Uncle Clifford has always been wild and a bit of a tease. He's given Aunt Diana a full head of gray hair, which As any good Southern lady would, she colors regularly. Oh, let your grandmother's secret stay secret. For a minute, I think there's a hidden message in that, but then I can tell he's just toying with me. So you're down at the Myers cottage, huh? Yes, I just decided to get away for a few days. Well, drop a line in the water for me. You know I don't fish. Yuck. Being saddled with girls, my poor father worked hard to form an avid angler from at least one of us. Even Uncle Clifford knows it was a lost cause. Well, now see, that's one way you don't take after your grandmother. She loved to fish, especially down on a disto. When your dad and I were little, she'd take us up there to meet with somebody who had a little John boat. We'd go up the river and spend half the day fishing. I don't remember who it was we went with. A friend, I guess. He had a little blonde-headed boy I liked to play with. Name started with a T. Tommy, Timmy, no, Trey or Travis, maybe. Trent? Trent Turner? The current Trent Turner being Trent the third. His father was Trent too, and he's around my uncle's age. Could have been. There's some reason you're asking? Anything wrong? Suddenly, I realize I've gone one question too far and inadvertently unlocked the detective's office. No, no reason. Being on a disto just started me thinking about things. I wish I had come down here more with Grandma Judy. I wish I'd asked questions while she still could remember things. Well, that's one of the paradoxes of life. You can't have it all. You can have some of this and some of that, or all of this and none of that. We make the trade offs we think are best at the time. You've accomplished a lot for a girl. I mean, a woman, just 30 years old. Sometimes I wonder if my family doesn't see more in me than is really there. Thanks, Uncle Clifford. That'll be $5 for the session. The check's in the mail. After we hang up, I think through the conversation as I unpack the single sack of groceries I picked up at the BILO, which I remember as the Piggly Wiggly. Were there any clues in what Uncle Clifford said? Nothing jumps out at me, nothing that leads anywhere. If the little boy in the John boat was named Trent, that tells me that my grandmother had some sort of personal connection to the elder Trent Turner, which I already guessed. But if they spent time out fishing together with the children, that also pokes holes in my blackmail theory. You don't go fishing with a blackmailer, and you certainly don't take your little boys. You also don't bring children with you if you're having an illicit affair, especially not children who are old enough to remember the outing. Maybe the elder Trent Turner was nothing more than a longtime friend. Maybe the envelope merely contains photos, something totally innocent. But then, why the deathbed pledge between grandfather and grandson that the packets wouldn't be passed along to anyone other than their owners? Oh, thank you, Jerry. I form theories as I carry my things to the bedroom, open my suitcase, and settle in. I throw darts at the theories, just one way I would if we were gathered in the war room in my old office. The darts hit their marks, and there's really nothing left. The day is catching up with me anyway, and I'm ready for a shower and a good night's sleep. Maybe tomorrow I'll have a stroke of genius, or maybe I'll catch up with Trent Turner the third and wrestle the truth out of him. One possibility seems about as likely as the other. It's not until I'm letting the shower run and realizing that there seems to be no hot water in the cottage that I zero in on something Uncle Clifford said. My grandmother came here to write. Could any of her writings still be here? Could there be a clue in them? I'm back into my clothes in a flash. The cold shower really didn't sound so good anyway. Outside the cottage windows, the sea oats sway over the dunes, and the moon rises above the palmetto thicket. Waves thrum the shore as I rifle through drawers and search closets and blanket chests and wardrobe cabinets. I've almost surrendered to the obvious conclusion that there's nothing here to find when I come up from checking beneath my grandmother's bed and realize the small piece of furniture beside it isn't a desk or a vanity table, but a typewriter stand. There's an old black typewriter hanging upside down underneath the center panel. Having grown up in family homes filled with vintage furniture, I more or less know how this thing works. It doesn't take me long to release the right combination of latches and swivel the hinges. The typewriter flips upright with an impressive wallop. I run a finger over the keys. I can almost hear my grandmother pecking away at them. Leaning close, I study the black rubber roller that pulls the page through. The keys have left tiny indentations behind. If this were a computer, perhaps I could pull something off the hard drive, but no words remain legible here. It's impossible to tell what's been written or when. What do you know that I don't know? I whisper to the machine. As I rifle through the drawers, there's nothing in the stand but assorted pens and pencils, yellow typing paper, a box of carbon sheets, and strips of correction film, chalky white on one side and slick on the other. The top sheet bears the impression of letters. Holding it to the light, I can easily make out the misty-eyed, then corrected words, Palmetto Boulevard, Edisto Island. My grandmother wrote letters here, apparently, but either accidentally or on purpose, she cleaned up her tracks. There are no partially used pieces of paper, and the carbon sheets are pristine, no ghosts of words left behind. Strange, because in her desk back home, there was always a folder filled with paper that could be reused for small projects, crafts, children's drawings. I push a typewriter key, watch the hammer swing up and strike the roller, leaving behind only the faint, shimmery impression of a K. The ink on the ribbon is dry. The ribbon. The next thing I know, I'm bent over the black metal housing, wrestling it loose so I can get to the spools. It's surprisingly easy. Unfortunately, the ribbon is mostly unused. Only a few inches of it might contain the stamped out impression of whatever was typed last. Unrolling it and holding it against the light, I squint to make it out. So it's like a bunch of letters in 3 rows, like all together. But then she says, it's gibberish at first, but I've been around Grandma Judy long enough to know how a typewriter ribbon works. It rolls as the keys strike. The letters have to be in some sort of order. The first letters on the top line suddenly take on meaning. Judy, my grandmother's name, spelled backwards, right to left, the way it would have ended up after being typed. Another word rises from the muddle, society, just after or before the period. 3 more capitalized words precede it. Tennessee Children's Home. Grabbing a pencil and paper, I sort out the rest. Frustrated and wondering what else might have been in the records of the Tennessee Children's Home Society. Perhaps we will never know, Trent, as desperately as we might wish it. Yours sincerely, Judy. I stare at my own handwriting, trying to piece together the rest of the story. Children's homes are for orphans and babies given up for adoption. The young woman in May Crandall's photo was pregnant. Was she a relative of my grandmother's? One who found herself in trouble? Events come to life in my mind. A starry-eyed girl from a good family, a man of dubious reputation, a scandalous elopement, or worse yet, no marriage at all, an out-of-wedlock pregnancy. Perhaps her beau abandoned her and she was forced to return to her family. Back in those days, girls were sent away to have their babies and quietly sign them over for adoption. Even now, women in my mother's social circles occasionally whisper about someone who went to stay with an aunt for a time. Perhaps that's what Trent Turner is keeping hidden. One thing is for certain, the last note written on this typewriter was to a Trent Turner. And though I can't tell how recent it is, there's little doubt that whatever's in the mysterious envelope will answer a lot of questions or create more. Without rethinking it, I hurry across the house, grab my phone, and dial Trent Turner's number, which I now know by heart. All right. That's not the end of the chapter, but I feel like it's a good place to leave for the night. I honestly am preferring the kids at this point to get adopted before if something happens to them by any of creeps at the children's home. But it's too real. Like, okay, so it brought back how I know that let's see, I got a bow, nice tan. Like, foster kids, fostering parents, they're like, what they call a lot, like, the redux. They're not all this closely monitored. People wanna believe, like, you know? So there was a group, very in the name of it. It's like a charity. When I was, like, in LA and I got invited to, like, these red carpets, and there was like, "Oh, what is this for?" Whatever, "It's this charity," and turns out it was for this woman started it for girls that are, like, aged out of foster care, but also describe, like, there's sexual abuse. I'm sure there's abuse of all forms that go on, but how they're specifically adopted or fostered for that. And, and then they're just told, "Pull yourself by your bootstraps," or something like, and so when I was reading about, like, the kids in the book and these men, I'm like, "This is some Epstein shit," I was thinking, and that's the truth is, I mean, I don't I don't really suggest you do this, but from what I remember with, like, Epstein stuff before is they picked girls and fostered, girls that were poor, they're not who would care? Though, like, you know, they have offer them a peppermint, you know? Sad. But, it is an interesting story, at least this one is, um, like, novelized, this one is created to tell this story. It would be a good movie or show. But anyway, so it's interesting watching these pieces connected and, like, finding it out, but anyway, true life can be so sad on there, like what you were saying about, some people, like, brought there just to give their kid right up, like, and I understand, like, if you want to, um, but you hope if you want to that you're choosing who it's going to and feeling like it's your decision and not that you just push to have to, you know? Anyway. All right. I love you so, so much. I'm going to go to bed tonight with that tree now removed. This is so weird. Love you.